I want people to not feel alone. I want people, like me who are gay, weird, bullied, and full of trauma, to feel inspired and make their own weird little stories while finding catharsis and fulfillment from it. I also want people to have fun, cry, and, get scared when they read or see my work. My name is Kayla Shaggy. I am a Dene and Anishinaabe. I was raised on the Navajo Nation reservation, and my artist origins began when I would make comics and drawings from kind of like scrap paper in the house. So my mom was like going to college and she had like all of these like pamphlets and things. So I would draw on the back of those. My grandma also encouraged me a lot. She was the one to introduce me to comics as well. She had X-Men, Generation X, and Superman comics. After that, it was a lot of doodling, making my own stuff, fan works. And then after high school, with further encouragement from my high school art teacher, I would go to Fort Lewis College in Durango, Colorado to pursue art. And then I would graduate with a bachelor's degree in 2017. I would say it was like a lot of it had to do with like, my grandma and, seeing like the different artisans growing up. Because, when you're native, you see so many people do art, whether it's like the more modern, where it's painting or drawing, or traditional, like pottery and stuff. So I was really surrounded by art a lot as a kid. But I would say for like the career part, regarding like comics and illustration, my high school teacher, he saw my potential and imagination. He urged me to go on this trip to New York City in high school. So my parents raised the money. It was really expensive, and I actually ended up getting sick with pneumonia, but I still went coughing and
Oh
sneezing.
no.
And we went in the spring, New York City, where it was still snowing. But I was just awestruck by the museums, the public art and experience. And then, that's when I knew I wanted to be an artist. I was just inspired by everything I was seeing, and, it made me think like, I want my art to be in the MoMA one day. Getting this question, I really had to like think hard about it because it's like,
Yeah.
I feel like I get inspired and influenced by so many things. But I would say biggest influences is like, Vincent van Gogh comes to mind for his passion about art, his color work, and, various different comic artists from around the world for their style, body of work and storytelling, along with like movies by different directors, for similar reasons. So it's not just like art, but also like movies and, music. I also get inspired listening to music. I also get influenced by music, to carry the mood and stuff. But it's kind of hard to pin the biggest influences. But the names that come to mind are Francesca de Goya, Maurice Sendak, Kota Hirano, Akira Kurosawa, Jeff Smith, Guillermo del Toro, and Phil Tippett would just be a few. I feel like a lot of like the comics and like illustration I do, there's a lot of the themes of like finding yourself, sort of like a coming of age, along with, realizing your passions and what you want and then like going towards it. And then the messages would be, stuff I would like to tell to like younger me. I want people to not feel alone. I want people, like me who are gay, weird, bullied, and full of trauma, to feel inspired and make their own weird little stories while finding catharsis and fulfillment from it. I also want people to have fun, cry, and, get scared when they read or see my work. I would say, anywhere really. Maybe somewhere at the store has like a unique tick or they have a cool style. And I think, oh, what if there was a character that looked like that? And, think about them in their life. Or, maybe there's a story I've been like really dying to read. Like, man, why doesn't someone make a story about like lesbian vampires? What if I just make it myself, And then
Mm.
sometimes I get inspired just by like, going to the store or, being in the shower or reading or seeing something. Like it's probably built on all of those different comics and stories and movies I've read and experiences with other people. And, my own experiences kind of just like twisting together and then something pops out and I'm like, oh, I gotta scribble this down real fast before I lose it, because that happens a lot. Like I'll draw
Yeah.
on pieces like cardboard or, napkins if I don't have like paper on hand. Was that me? Oh, sorry, the cat meowed.
Was that
Scared
her?
me with the
I couldn't
headphones.
hear
Yeah, that scared me with the headphones. I was like, who was that? Oh, it's the cat.
it.
So I try to take breaks, just like step away from the desk, watch movies, read a comic book. Sometimes I just have to watch something that I really like. Like recently, I was like I'm working on issue 4 of Death Becomes Her, and I was kind of having like a little bit of a slump, even though I was really gung ho on working on it. And I was like, oh my God, am I going to be able to make this on time for, before the year ends? And then I went to my friend's place to watch Satoshi Kon because they never seen any of Satoshi Kon, any of his movies. So we did a double feature of Perfect Blue, or we did Paprika and then Perfect Blue. And, just watching it, and I'm just so like, I've seen it so many times and I'm always amazed by like the imagery, the themes, the suspense, the character acting within the animation. And then it makes me like, okay, I want to sit down and draw. I want to make something hopefully as good as what these people have done. So,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
And then, oh, also telling myself it's okay to not be productive constantly because I'm not a machine, I'm a person. I've been seeing a lot of talk online of like healing from burnout is more difficult than preventing burnout.
Mhm.
So I would say most recently it's like the my Death Becomes Her comic series because I was thinking really long and hard about this question and I was like, yeah, it's the one that just keeps coming to my mind. Because it's really special to me in that it's the first story that is that I think my first indulgent story. Because I think the other stories I've done were made specifically in mind to have like a wider appeal because it's that worry when you're like a self-published artist, you want as many people to like want to buy your stuff, so you kind of got to sacrifice some things in order to make the story more marketable. And that's the thing I like about indie comics is kind of like if you go into indie comics, you just know you're going to read something really weird and memorable. And but that doesn't always fly with like marketability or something that a bigger publisher would want to publish, because
Mhm.
yeah. Anyway, um with DBH, when I was writing it, and even before I was drawing and writing the comic, I'd been doing like little sketches, little comics. I was worried that no one but me, but 5 other weirdos would read it. I've been an out lesbian for a while since college, but even then, I felt like I was hiding this part of myself because people wouldn't want to read something that I would make. People wouldn't want to read a weird, bloody, sexy story about lesbian vampires with insects and body horror, because that's what I wanted to do and that's what I wanted to draw. Um, but I also wrote and drew DBH as a Salvation Woman, Monsters, and Monster Woman. And, when I made it and I put it out there, it was so nerve-wracking because I didn't know what was going to happen. So I was really pleasantly surprised by all of the wonderful reception and heartfelt messages people sent to me when they read it. I took what people have sent me and I
Mhm.
printed them out and I pasted them over my desk. So whenever I feel like, oh, does anyone want to read this? Should I ever draw it? And then I read
Yeah.
it if I'm feeling down. Like, like it really makes me smile a lot when I read Death Becomes Her, or I've been having a hard time hoping I could find my community here. Thank you for making your art and making people feel seen. I'm reading DBH and I'm feeling so much love. So when I get messages like that and it's like, oh, thank God I made it, this weird little story that I thought no one would enjoy.
Yeah.
um yeah, so I would say DBH is very, very meaningful to me. I would definitely say like I guess I feel like more sharper, more honed. But
Yeah.
like the work itself feels sharper, more honed, and I do too. It's like the story and the art is more to the point. It's cutting to the meat and heart of it. So it feels more, impactful and more memorable. I think before I would be really long-winded in my art. I don't, it's really hard to explain because like I think the art I made in college was really like open-ended. It's like people would be like, what does this mean? And then nowadays I make something, people are like, oh, I know what you're saying, I know what you're referencing, I know what you're doing, and I'm like, cool. I would say draw what you want and ignore people telling you otherwise. Because I struggled a lot in college, because it wasn't just like fellow students in college, it was also like the professors being like, you shouldn't be drawing that stuff. You shouldn't be doing comics. You're not going to get anywhere with comics or illustration. That stuff is going to like dry up by the time you're in the professional world, and it's like, look what's being adapted, look what's being sold the most in bookstores, or, look what's popular at the library. Yeah. Also, take breaks. You don't have to earn your breaks either. Just take them. And take care of your hands. Yeah, take care of your hands, whether it's doing simple muscle exercises or stretching them. You should take care of your hands. Also, if you feel blocked, and I realize the way I wrote this is like, if you feel blocked, don't push it. No, I'm not talking about constipation. But don't push your art block, or else you might burn out. And also give yourself rewards. I like to get myself a new movie or boba tea after I finish little goals, or I treat myself out after finishing a book. Like when I finished issue 3 of Death Becomes Her, I got myself boba tea, and we went to Taco Bell because I was really craving Taco Bell, and it was just really nice. I just got to go home and I'm gonna eat my little treats, and then feel up and get ready to write the 4th one. I think right after I finished issue 3, I started painting, digitally painting the cover for the 4th one. So I just released the 3rd one, and I'm working on the 4th one. I want to say it might be 15 to 20 issues. I don't know. It's like I have them in my head, but it's kind of hard to think long term to quantify it. But I will say it's probably a shorter story than, well, maybe it's longer than, I don't know. It's hard to say, but definitely it's gonna be at least 10 issues. I would like my art to, stick with them, stay with them. And I also want to inspire people to make their own work, because overall I love art, and I love the many different mediums and forms of art, and I want to see more art in the world.